Everyone, I think, knows the dominance of YouTube. Christian Oestlien is the VP of subscriptions. He reports to the CEO, Neil Mohan, and I think it's pretty safe to say that you are becoming, if not already, one of the most important people in sports. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And this, I mean, doing this event, obviously.
I don't think that's correct, but I appreciate it.
No, it definitely is.
Yeah.
So I want to first start with your background because it's a little unique. Just let us know how you how you grew up, and then how you ended up at YouTube. If you give us a little synopsis of your background.
Yeah, I'll try and be quick. I was lucky enough to grow up as an expatriate. My dad actually worked for a Canadian-American company called Seagram's, and we traveled the world working for them. I was born in Italy, in Rome, and then moved to New York as a preschooler, then to San Francisco, and then I spent elementary and middle school in Brazil, in São Paulo, Brazil. And after that, high school in London. And then while I was in university in California, my family moved to Hong Kong. And so I spent a lot of my summers working in Hong Kong and doing my internships out there. Got to be there for the handover and a lot of really exciting events. After school, I did a few startups. It was sort of the early days of the internet, and had a little bit of success there, enough that I could take a few years off and go to grad school at Berkeley. And while I was in grad school at Berkeley, met all these really fascinating people that were working at this small company in Mountain View called Google. And they invited me to interview, and I went through that process. And at the time, it was sort of one of these, you had to get through 16 interviews, and any one of those people could veto you. And so if you got to the end of the process, you're like, well, I have to take this job now. It's too good not to. Anyways, that was 2006, and I worked for 7 years in the ad side of the business at Google. Had an opportunity to go help Twitter expand internationally. And so I spent a couple years at Twitter building them out in Japan and India and other markets. And then when Susan, who was, she passed away recently, but she was the CEO of YouTube for a really long time. When she went to YouTube, she asked me to come over and help her figure out how to work better with sports leagues and media companies. This is around 2014, 2015. And that's actually how I ended up at YouTube, and kind of that was where it all started.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to ask you about your background, because I knew about it, and I think you're uniquely positioned because YouTube, I think when you look at it globally of what you guys are trying to do and the reach you have in sports is one of the things that stands out. And so this is one of my favorite questions. Just if you were to tell people what you're doing with YouTube and sports, YouTube TV as well, we have to mention, of course, what should they know?
I think the biggest thing that I want people to take away is that we really see our mission at YouTube to become a platform for all video. And one of the things we saw really early on was that sports really occupies a giant portion of what people love and consume and are passionate about. And if we're really going to be the home of fandom, one of the things we really know we have to invest in and really build out is a great place for sports fans. So going all the way back to 2015 or so, we embarked on this mission to become the home of clips and highlights, something that WC and others are very familiar with. But we really set out to be on a mission where we should be the one place where whether you're watching the game or you missed a game, you can come to YouTube and catch up on anything you might have missed. And that was a really big build out that happened globally. And to your point, we've really always had a global focus, partnering with sports leagues all around the world, prioritizing sports on a global basis. And so when you think about YouTube, I really want you to think about it as we're trying to cultivate YouTube as a home for fandom, as a home for sports. For an entire generation, YouTube is the new sports center. Whether that's watching shorts or catching up on highlights, they come to YouTube on a daily basis to consume sports content. 40 billion hours last year of sports were watched on YouTube. And all the leagues have leaned in, and they've become tremendous partners. And so everything you're seeing us do, whether it's YouTube TV or Sunday Ticket, is really an evolution of our desire to be really great partners to the sports leagues, but also to our broadcast partners and the media companies that sort of sit in between us and those sports leagues. And then to just make sure that for the average fan, we're building the best possible experience for them that really captures the joy that comes from global sports.
Andrew back in the studio. To listen to the rest of the podcast, become a free or paid subscriber at andrewmarchand.com. Now back to the podcast.
And so when you did that and you